Welcome to my daily review. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, and the Nasdaq fell 50 points today, or 0.26%, with 63% above this 50-day average volume. So volume is coming in heavy here since the elections last week. I just want to point out something that, it's like the old football, pattern where it's a square out, right? Or a corner out where you go up and out, towards the sidelines. And that's kind of what this thing has done. If you just look at a 10-minute chart, you can see the big move. And now all we're doing is going sideways, and that's fine. Sideways is fine. This is consolidation right here. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's very healthy. I know some people are in some stocks that weren't doing well and complaining. Other people are, doing fantastic. They didn't even realize that the Nasdaq was down today because they're in the stocks that were up, like Spotify and CAVA and TGTX. And I'm going to get to those, and I'm going to get to the winners and a few losers, not too many. I don't want to get too negative, but that's just what the Nasdaq's doing. I don't really want to go through, well, I guess since I brought it up, SPY, same thing, just flattened out. IWM is a little more volatile here. This one fell almost 1%. Still trading there above its 10. So, if they come back to the 10 and bounce, that's kind of what we want. Yeah, 1.1% above the 10. And since, gosh, I didn't want to do this because I don't really, care about these. But anyway, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed a tick below 44,000, and it's still 1.2% above. Anyway, so a lot of the stocks were flat on the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq was flat. Tesla, just filling that gap there, doing nothing right, doing nothing wrong. Meta, this is one that I've had on my radar list. It's just not going to move. It's just trading tight within its base, and it's not cooperating. But one day. Uh, anyway, Amazon was up on news of its competition with Temu. I forget the name of it. Hall? Yeah, I think it's Hall. Amazon Hall. So it's a big haul for cheap stuff. Anyway, Amazon had a nice move, 2.5%. But Nvidia going into its earnings next week, I doubt if it's going to do much. Just kind of trading sideways here and making a little a flagging pattern. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all those. I'm going to move on because I want to get to some names from last night's earnings report and this morning's earnings reports. And one of them is the medical research equipment stock is NTRA. This one, I should have it on the radar. It's got the big growth numbers that I like. It's up 20%, a nice move with volume today following its earnings report. So if we look at the weekly chart on this one, break out from that consolidation pattern here. So, you know, that's a nice response to earnings. We've seen some responses to pretty decent earnings report that were just super negative. This one had a nice 20% pop. Spotify, last night it wasn't up that much. This morning, 4 or 5%. But man, when they opened the markets up, this thing was being bought. So that just tells you that the appetite for the so here it shows you the daily range. I talk about this a lot. It makes a high in the morning. What the first 25 minutes of 462 gives you that low 445. So that's your range for the session, right? It goes above it, game on, goes below it. Well, you can short it, I guess, but there was just buyers all day long. As soon as it made that low, straight up. So congrats to the longs there. It was up 48 points or 11.5%. And that is a move not to be ignored. Fantastic stock. I just think this is it. It reminds me of Netflix from back in 2010. I'm not saying it's going to be a big winner for 10 years like that, or 15 years or 20 years, whatever Netflix has done, but this is one that a lot of people use, a lot of people like. So anyway, now CAVA had the opposite reaction. It was up a lot after hours. It was up a lot this morning. And as soon as they opened up this market, that it just selling all day long. There's no daily range. It's just sell, 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 sell all the way down. It was only up, what, $2 today. So it went from 170, what was it? What was that number there? Like 172, 172.43. Close at 147, $25 lower. So it's an expensive stock. That's why. I mean, it's got a 16, almost a 17 billion market cap, with a billion in sales. So 17 times sales, a lot of growth priced in, and that scares fund managers, institutions. So still a fantastic stock, but just really expensive. All right, Dave. Dave had a pop. Dave broke out of a base here, 44% move. And this one's yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know much about Dave. I just know technically that's a nice breakout. I know a lot of people were jamming me on Twitter saying this is SMCI, it's over, it's a topping pattern. Yeah, we've had a lot of it hasn't had a long run. I shouldn't say that. It's gone from what 9 to 90, so it's a 10 bagger. And it has, this base here. It doesn't have a lot of bases though. But yeah, heavy volume, big move at the end. That could be a climax stop for Dave, but we'll see. I don't own it, I just pointing that out. Paymentus Holdings. Another one that broke out of a base here, the big cup with handle. Let's take a look at this on the week. This is a finance credit card payment stock, in there with Toast and Shift for payments. Later stage base here, you can see that cup with handle and just a nice move up 25% for the week. This is definitely not a climax stop. Looks like just a breakout from that IPO base. Paymentus Holdings. So good move there following earnings and one not to be ignored. CYBR reported this morning, and I didn't really pay attention to this one. It was up in pre-market, but it closed, looks like near its moving average there. Well, closed at the low of the day, 2% of the daily range. So that's kind of not the action that you want out of an earnings report. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart here. Oh my gosh, little okey doke at the open, huh? Yeah, 10 minutes in, it's 318 and it closes at 291. So yeah, that kind of hurts. All right. TSEM, they reported this morning as well. TSEM, I fat fingered that one. Broke out of this space. We've talked about these bull wedge patterns here, how they just pull back or undercut the 50, come down to the 50 or the 21, whatever, and then get support. But, you can't buy this thing ahead of earnings, but it is a nice bounce off the 50, 12% there. That's a semiconductor manufacturing stock. Cart or Maple Bear, oof, pulled back to its 50, 11% drop following its earnings report. Yikes. And then Zoom Info. This is one that a lot of people had high hopes for, but I don't know, I never got into this stock and down 19%. You could see over time this thing's just deteriorated. I think it was IPO in like 2020. A lot of folks like it, but it hasn't panned out. It's tough business out there. All right, RKLB. This is Rocket Lab, an aerospace defense stock. This one popped higher. Closed near the lows of the session there. If we take a look at the daily range on that gap up, 5% of the daily range closed near the low. But, 28% move. So definitely one not to be ignored. There you can see this big, just as like a big IPO again, IPO breakout. And if you look at the weekly, it's a 56% of the weekly range, and we still have 2 more days in the week. So we'll see what happens with Rocket Lab. Nice move though, so congrats to the longs there. Flutter Entertainment, this is classic breakout. I've had this on the ready list a while ago when it was in this base and it moved up and made another base and now it's broken out of this one here. You can see the RS line jamming right through the moving averages. So that looks pretty darn good. Nice 7% move for Flutter Entertainment. All right. That's it for all the earnings for now. I'm just going to go through a couple of groups and then do some random names. And that's it for today. Let me see. App 11. This is one, that's just this is a monster stock, kind of like a high tight flag pattern there. It's just flagging. What is this? 283. Okay, down 1%. So it had the big move last week, and that actually looks like a short stroke pattern, doesn't it? How much is it down this week? 2%. Yeah. Well, when you're up 77% and only give back 2, yeah, that does look like a short stroke pattern. So I'm waiting for something to develop here with app, either 3 weeks tight or, if it could close that, the week right around this level, a short stroke pattern, that would, be an add-on area for app 11. But I still think it's going to have trouble with 300. and now it's allowing the 10 EMA to catch up. But with these names, I've been looking at a lot of stocks here and just using the five because I think it might find support here at the five. I move this here. Yeah, so it's getting close here. The five EMA today was 268, but it's going up what $8 a day. So tomorrow it'll be 276. So it could pull back to the five and bounce. So this is a live one. So keep your eyes on that. App 11. I'm just going to leave the five on there because I don't like toggling back and forth. Whoops, I didn't mean that. I meant to go to Palantir because this is another software name, the Messi of AI. And once again, now, since it broke out, just, cruising the five here and not the 10. So Palantir, very strong stock. It was up today again while the Nasdaq was down. So that's flexing. GoDaddy, another one that I like. I bought it, I own it, I like it. It's just surfing the five like the strong stocks are doing. But these are extended. A lot of the leading stocks are just extended. You cannot buy them here. So you just gotta wait. You gotta be patient. One day we'll have a move down. They'll pull back to a moving average and give us a chance to get in. I don't think in this type of environment where the market's melting up, they're just going to form nice bases for us and, pretty little charts. That's not going to happen. ZETA, I mentioned, negative responses to earnings. I've got to look more into this stock. Down 37%. I don't know what they said. They had earnings, what, Monday? Yeah, Monday after the bell. Tuesday came in, fell down 23%, another 37% today. I don't know if they said something today or not, so I'm talking out of turn here. I'll find out though by the morning. This is a stock that was definitely, this is why, I say when you're dealing with growth stocks, they're going to fall out at some point. They're like hand grenades in your hand, so you have to take profits and sell them. Don't sit there and hold on to this thing and think it's going to go to the moon forever because that's just too much pain for me to take. I mean, yesterday when it sliced its 50, it was adios muchachos. So if you sat there and held through another 37% on the downside, shame on you. You don't have to do that. But we've seen a lot of them like that SMCI and Peloton and just Roku. A lot of them, Celsius Holdings. A lot of them that were darlings of Wall Street, and they just they reach a top and it's adios muchachos. So anyway, sorry for the ZETA longs. Twilio, oh boy, this one just a one-way stock. Once again, riding the five. And that's what strong stocks will do in a bull market or an uptrending market. So Twilio definitely fits that category. So software names, a lot of them are doing well, hit and miss. You're not gonna hit them all, right? Um, HubSpot yesterday, broke. I guess you could say it broke out, but really it has that standard buy point there at 693. So it's just hovering right around there. Might have trouble with that 700 number. It made it up to 724 today, then pulled back, closed near the low of its daily range, near around 700. So yeah, software overall pretty strong. Got some leaders here and then quite a few laggers. So it's still a stock picker's market, even though we've been in a melt up mode. All right, I'm going to go to MicroStrategy, which was just a nasty, nasty, nasty move today. I know some people are saying, "Come on, get in. Bitcoin's going up. It's going to 100,000. You got to buy this stock." It's like, you could see that. This I'll go to the 10-minute chart. I think you can see it better here. Yeah. So they're buying the dips here the whole way. Anytime this thing comes down, it's bought, right? Buy the dip, buy the dip. And then this thing it gapped up, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And it just keeps running higher until it doesn't. Then it maxed out today. It made a new high. I don't know what it was, 384 or something. I guess I'll get you the actual price. So what, 15 minutes in or half an hour in, it made a high of 383.40. And then what happens? Then they start selling, sell the rip, sell the rip, sell the rip, driving this thing down, sell the rip. And it's just boom, no support anywhere. I mean, let me go back to the daily chart. I'm looking at the 5 EMA here, and it's just a tick above it. So I'm thinking maybe tomorrow it'll come down to its 5 and then pop. So this thing's going up. The 5 EMA for MicroStrategy is going up with 308, $357 a day. So tomorrow, today was 315.29, so maybe 322, 323. Yeah, I could see it coming back down to there and popping. This is a super strong stock, and I know people are making fun like, oh, it's over the top 10. I don't think so. It just it went from 200 to 383 in a very short period of time. You can see this. So a pullback is normal. It's healthy action. So. And you can see, back here, when it pulls back, a couple days. So, it has these days, these ugly days. I think it was this day right here. I think that's October 14th. If I'm not mistaken, my brain's still functioning. Yeah, it had that kind of a day where it made a high and then pulled back. Um, Made a high on October 14th, I believe. Yeah, October 14th. So what did it do the next couple of days? Pull back to the 5 EMA. So maybe it'll take a day or two, but I'm pretty sure it'll get stabilized, find support, and trade higher. It's just, if you own that, that's a tough day, 8%. Anyway, for the MicroStrategy longs, which I know there's a lot of them out there. That's why you can't buy and chase stuff. I say it all the time. If you're chasing stuff that's at 383, I don't know what it was at 20% above its 5 EMA or even more than that. So, that's why you got to mind the moving averages, want to get them closer to the moving average. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy the stock because I probably will, but I'm going to wait for a pullback to a moving average and a bounce, and it might be more than a couple of days that we've seen in the past year. So it's done this before. It's not the end of the world. It's going to do it again. I'm pretty sure this thing's going to go to 400. I'm news at 383 this morning. And the CEO, yeah, I think he was selling more stock. That's what it was today to buy more Bitcoin. He'll probably make an announcement in a few days that he bought a ton more Bitcoin. So MicroStrategy, one of the leading stocks, in this year, and one of the leading stocks in the market. MicroStrategy, yeah, up 550% in the last year. So I think shareholders are happy. And if not, you're getting a little spoiled. All right, so I'm going to move on. Coinbase, you know, Bitcoin was up quite a bit today, and then these stocks came down. So these are stocks. It's not the currency. If you want to own, the Bitcoin itself, IBIT is one. So I guess it finished flat. So I guess Bitcoin, I didn't look into it, so it must have finished flat. But this kind of trades with the price of Bitcoin, and then Coinbase is a stock. It's a platform. So yeah, sometimes it trades with Bitcoin, but not all the time. And while Bitcoin was up, this thing was trading down today. But all it did was come back to that 283 buy point area. I kind of like that. And a lot of stocks do that. They break out and then they pull back. Problem with this one, though, is it traded below that gap day, right? I talk about this often. So it gapped higher, and then the low of that session was 296. So if I'm holding that, I want it to hold the 296, and it didn't today. It came down to 282. So likely to fill that gap at 273. So it could fill the gap and bounce. That wouldn't surprise me. I still like this stock. It's giving you a chance to get in now after a real nice run on was it Monday? I had this on the ready list this week. What was it? Yeah, the 20% move. So yeah, give it all back. So, or most of it anyway. So we'll see what happens with Coinbase. Tough day though. If you're a crypto person, you're holding MicroStrategy and Coinbase, you had a rough day today, but you've had many good ones. So you take the good with the bad. Robinhood, once again, above its 5 EMA, and it's 2% above the 5. So, if it's above the 5, it's a strong stock. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these stocks are extended, so they're hard to buy. So my watch list is small. There's just not a lot of opportunity out there. Got to wait for pullbacks. And then I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth because I got some other stocks that I'm going to show you later. TGTX, there's a buyout rumor today. This has a lot of shorts in it. So when the buyout rumors come, they have to cover because this is acting like a stock that might get a buyout for sure. This one pulled back. If I take a look at the 5-minute chart on yesterday, it just sold off hard into the close. And what did it do today? Just buying all day long. And then that rumor hit and it just ramped up. But still, nice day for a TGTX. This is one that I do own up, 13% on this session. And I like it because of the fundamentals. You can't look at those red numbers because this quarter is compared to a quarter where they had licensing fees from Europe. And so those don't exist anymore as a one-time thing. So what I look at is the steady, revenue growth here, 44 million, 63 and a half, 73 and a half, 84. So what are they going to do next time? Like 95. It's just steady Eddie gradually. The CEO says it's a blockbuster drug. They have a patent till 2039. So if you have time, I think this is a good place, for me anyway, to park some money. Although I don't know how much time I have, but I got money, so I'm buying that one. VKTX, they reported some new data today. I thought the data was good. The weight loss drug for fatty liver, the MASH component. They have quite a few compounds. But anyway, the market's talking here, and this thing sold off 9%, and now it's 14% below the 50, 10% below the 200. Man, that is a dead man walking right there. So it doesn't look good for VKTX, but you can always say, well, I bought it last year and it's up 450% in the year. So it's just time frames and perspective. People, if you bought it, back last year and you're up 450%, you can afford to sit on that one for a little bit. All right, the next one is RNA, which is another one of these medical biotech stocks that I had on my red list. You could see the consolidation here and the pullback to the moving average. Then it undercut. It made a new high and undercut the 50, which we've seen quite often, making that little wedge pattern, right? And then it rallied back above, and today popped 12%, made a new high. So this one, yeah, Avidity Biosciences look pretty darn good. And the last one is HIMSS. This one is competing, it's got the compound weight loss compound, which NVO and Lilly. I don't like fighting those big behemoths like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, but then Palm had their Palm Pre for a while, and they battled Apple for a little bit until what happened. Apple squashed a lot of companies, so that's why I would just rather own the big fish. But short-term trade, this thing looks fantastic. And who knows, this thing could go to 50, 60, or 100, you don't know. But definitely broke out of that base here and looks pretty good for hims and hers health. All right, that's it for the drugs. I'm going nuclear now. I got to go to the energy stocks. Strong group, and a strong stock and a strong group. This one made a new high today. Before pulling back, it's kind of getting support there. If I zoom in at that green line, that 50, up and down seesaw. So buy it below it, sell it above it, that type of thing. That one looks pretty good. And the other one that I like is GEV because it pulled back a lot yesterday on some nonsense the CEO talked about. I don't know, he's gonna wait for a better environment to spend money. But anyway, this is a leading stock in one of the leading groups. So I put it on the ready list to bounce off that moving average. I think I had the 10. I'm not going to go back to the 10, but anyway, this right here, the low yesterday was at the 10, so it bounced a little bit. I would like to see a bigger bounce. See, it had an inside day today, and I would really like. It doesn't have to make a new high, but I'd like to see it get above yesterday's high. Yeah, Tuesday's high was 349, and then Monday's high. Okay, so yeah, I guess 350 would be the benchmark there for GE Vernova. All right, let's move on to OKLO. This is Peter Thiel's SPAC company. Peter Thiel, yeah. Nuclear. This is strong group, strong stock and a strong group as well. So that one looks pretty darn good. And then what else? Oh, VST. This is kind of in a different group. I mean, it's still electrical power, but it's in a different industry group. It's still, 31. That's really strong. So you got a strong stock and a strong group. I want to look at the weekly here because it weeds out some of the noise. You can see it made this high, then pulled back, looking like a wedge pattern, and then now just consolidating. This looks like a base to me. It might not be enough weeks for a pattern rec to pick it up, but I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is a sixth week here. So pattern rec will probably pick that up with that 143.87 buy point. So maybe it'll form a little handle. Made that high that one day. Maybe it'll form a little handle, come back to the 21, the rising 21, and then pop above that 150 level. Another stock that, I like a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. CEG, I shouldn't even show this one anymore. It's just under the 50 and it's just a laggard. TLN reports earnings tomorrow. If you own it, you better know that. A little bit of a pullback today, still at the 5 though, really strong stock. This one's a lot like VST, where it's got that, made that high of 197, then pulled back to the 50, rallied up, pulled back to the 50, and now it's above 200, making a high. And yeah, a little shelf pattern here. We'll see what they say tomorrow. I really like this name. I would just see how it goes tomorrow. I wouldn't go big into this one before any earnings report, that's for sure. It's up a lot. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Couple names, just random. I'm going random here, taking a random walk at some new highs. This is IONQ. They reported last week, had a nice response to earnings, and then it's been popping again this week. You can see once again this wedge pattern before their earnings report, then popping. If we take a look at this one on the weekly, man, that looks good. Geez, what was it? A 20? What was it? Oh gosh, 66% last week. Another, what is it? 7, 8% this week. My goodness. Wow. So showing strength, making new highs. You can see on the weekly that IPO, got kind of an IPO base here. So it might be entering its institutional advance phase here. That would not surprise me. It's really ramping. And the fundamentals are improving on its sales. Anyway, SMCI's out of luck. IONQ's taken over the computer hardware group, which is 185 out of 197. RDWR, Radware. Not a stock I'm real familiar with, but it broke out of this base here, made a nice strong move today, 8%. I think it reported last week or the week before, but there once again you see that wedge pattern, the pullback, and then the blast higher. So that looks like it's like straight off the lows. Yeah, 1976 pull back to the 200. Now it's 23.92. So a nice move there. And then the last one is ERJ, Brazilian manufacturer of aircraft, commercial, aviation, defense, security applications. Anyway, broke out of a base. You could see, I think it had earnings. I forget, Monday or last week. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe yesterday. I don't know. I'm guessing now. But definitely pulled back to the 5 and popped today. So nice 4% move. Made a new high, and we like new highs. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Oops. I have one more thing in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I just got to say, for one thing, that some people are finding it really tough trading now because if you're buying now with the indexes up so high and them just going flat, you're probably going to get, muted at reactions, right? It's not going to be blasting off, except for those stocks that I just showed you. But a lot of stocks are just kind of going sideways and digesting gains. So anyway, I'm just saying that before I go to these earnings reports tonight. Things are getting tougher because it's extended so much. So we might have to wait for a little bit of a pullback. You'd have to be patient. Anyway, Cisco reported earnings tonight. They beat on earnings, they beat on revenues, they guided higher, and the stock goes lower. So you can't figure out earnings at all. The reactions you don't know, but I don't know. Maybe tomorrow it'll bounce off that. It came back today and bounced off the 5 pretty nicely, closed at 92% of its daily range. So I don't put a lot of credence into after hours. Wait till the regular session, wait till the institutions start buying this stock. It used to be back in the day when Cisco reported, it moved entire markets. There was the big kahuna back in the go-go 90 days, but not anymore. Nobody even cares. It is in the networking group with Arista Network. So these guys just announced a 4-for-1 stock split. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some pin action from those numbers. You got to wait till tomorrow. DLO reported it's up 13% after hours. So a nice move there. Let me see. But Beazer Homes. Still consolidating in a base. They reported up 13%. So that's going to take it possibly above that 35.20 area, 34.89, 35.20. So yeah, that could be a breakout tomorrow. Definitely one to watch in pre-market. The housing has been kind of rough. The rates have been going up, the yields, so it puts pressure on that group. IBTA, they reported, had a bad reaction. So anyway, yeah. We'll see. We'll watch that one tomorrow. CAPR reported, this is a biotech losing a ton of money. Just flat after hours, down 1%. I like this stock, when it was making that high tight flat pattern. I like it above the 21. I don't like it below the 21. Keep it simple, right? That's the 8 week line. So it's below the 8 week line now. Below the 10 week line. No, it's 8% above the 10 week line, 7% below the 8 week line. So this one it has the ability to move, as you see, but I don't know. If I'm going to, I like stocks with fundamentals. This sales growth, it's got earnings. And anyway, that's TGTX. So I'm going to kind of stick with that one. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. This time for real at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, ever. And don't you either. Don't even think about it. Have a good evening.